Welcome to the Coming Clean podcast, the truth about cleaning. This is episode 3, how to balance new cleaning expectations with budgetary realities. I'm your host, Alan Randolph, and I'm so excited this week. Our guest has spent 24 years in the janitorial industry and is a certified building service executive. He spent the last 5 years in commercial real estate and facilities management and is currently the Director of Solution Development and Consulting, and the Janitorial Service Support Program for JLL. JLL is the second largest company of its kind, managing 4.6 billion square feet, operating in 80 countries, is number 189 on the Fortune 500. So they are a serious player, and John is in a unique position to give us some great insights. So I'm pleased to welcome John Kelley.
Hey,
thanks for coming on, John.
Thanks, Alan. Looking forward to it.
Great. So the topic is, how do we balance new cleaning expectations, with the realities of the coronavirus pandemic and just the craziness of 2020 with the budgetary realities that we've dealt with for the years. And so, as we have this pandemic and it's changing the world of cleaning, and cleaning is getting higher visibility, more public awareness, driving processes, new processes, more frequencies, et cetera. But we always have this historical budgetary reality. So how are your clients trying to balance this new normal?
That's a great question, and one that we're getting a lot of excitement about right now, because the economy is terrible because of what we're going through with the virus. In our world, most of our buildings are empty, or very limited people in them. And so there's a lot of money being spent on home offices and other things, and not in the buildings. And so everybody's really struggling with that. So I think we're always going to have a focus on cost. How do we provide, the service that we need to keep the buildings healthy, clean, and safe? But how do we do it at the right cost so that our client, whoever that is, a Fortune 1000 business, how do they stay in business at the same time?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, declining revenues are certainly a reality of these times for most businesses. So you got increased expectations, in the acute, and in the short term, we're doing a lot of increased frequencies, a lot of extra project disinfecting if you're open, or if you even have limited staff. But those probably aren't going to be sustainable. So it's very interesting. The parallel that I think about is 9/11. At that time, most organizations had very limited funding for security, but, a new public awareness changed that. Do you see some of that same type of reaction to cleaning post-COVID as we open up the economy?
Yeah, I mean, there's going to be a very focused approach to high touch points. Anything that you're touching in a restroom, an entry, countertops, those types of things are going to get more touches by the cleaner now, which means we're going to shift a day porter's role from kind of keep it looking nice and neat and clean to keep it clean. And so we're going to see people moving, I believe, from more of a night service where everything's done at night to moving some things being done in the daytime, so they can really make sure that when there's bodies in the building, that the surfaces are clean for them not to pick up, and not just for COVID, but for anything, the common flu that'll be, it's here now, it'll be back in the fall. We have to protect against all those types of things. So there's a change in focus on that, to high touch.
Yeah, I think it's always been a pet peeve of mine, John, because I've always wondered, why did we clean when the building was empty and not clean when the people were in it? Right? As just kind of as a philosophy, because it was convenient, right? Which kind of leads to another question, which is, I think cleaning has always been, my term, a little bit invisible, right? It was done when people weren't there. You might not have a direct connection with the cleaner. And, and so it wasn't valued kind of at the same level as maybe some other services or other critical parts of the organization. I think coronavirus has changed that. But if we don't see more visibility, to your point, I fear that we're gonna struggle to get long-term budgetary changes.
You're absolutely right. It's always been an invisible service. You know what? I came into work today. I did my work. I left my Coke can and my bag of chips in the garbage. And tomorrow I come back to work and some magical thing happened and my office is clean again. Like, oh, wow, how did that happen? You know, and we don't think about that. And it's unfortunate in the janitorial industry because really, if you think about the cleaner or the janitor that's in the building at night, if they didn't show up for a couple of days in any environment, that environment would shut down. Airports, restaurants, hotels, office buildings, because the buildings would be sick. They would get all the, you know, the whatever you're carrying and I'm carrying and the other thousands of people that go through that space are carrying doesn't get removed tonight. It just gets added to tomorrow, and pretty soon nobody's going to be at work because everybody's going to be sick because something's going to catch somebody. So there is a push. It's been going on for several years to a day clean. It's not popular in a lot of environments because people are working with sensitive documents, personal information, and I don't want that out. You don't want that out. So you don't want the cleaners, you know, cleaning around that. But there's also a visibility part of that. And if you see the cleaner and you get a relationship with that cleaner, and you know that Joe, you know, has kids that play Little League baseball and they go to church on Sundays and those types of things, you build a relationship. The interesting thing is the level of service goes up as well, because now the cleaner, Joe, is doing a better job because he's connected to you, the employee that he's cleaning up after, and you're connected to him. So you're not making as much of a mess as you would because, oh man, I better pick that up because if I don't, Joe's going to have to bend down and pick that up tomorrow.
Yeah, it's a great point. Our last episode was about culture change and really changing the culture of cleaning. You know, I think you said something that's really, really important. I mean, cleaning is kind of a foundational backbone to everything that happens in public spaces. And it has just kind of been taken for granted. I always say every call or every discussion about cleaning in most of my years has always been negative, right? You didn't get my trash last night, or you know, without any understanding for what other circumstances I may have been called on because the roof was leaking. Could be a million reasons why I didn't get that Coke can last night. But the assumption is just always, you know, kind of that back to your high school, the janitor just leaning on a dirty dust mop model that still, I think, permeates our industry that you know, I'm hoping with this podcast and guests like you, we can kind of help educate people on the value of cleaning.
Absolutely.
Well, you know, I appreciate that. I think this is really good information. You know, how can people get in touch with you as a subject matter expert on kind of this balance between budgetary constraints and your new strategic mission around cleaning? So how could they get more information about you and JLL services?
Sure. So we can somehow post my email address out there. JLL is a full service real estate company. We have brokers. We buy and sell, build, develop. I'm on the maintain side or the maintenance side. So we're actually going in your buildings, making sure that the air's on, the light's on. And so I'm working in the janitorial support side of that to make sure that our janitorial providers, our partners, have a representation that understands what they do. And then we run consulting projects out of that as well. So we provide consulting to janitorial companies who are trying to figure out how to, you know, solve big problems, and also to our clients, you know, that Fortune 1000 company that is maybe in-house and just is looking for some best practices that they just don't see. Whereas I sit in a place where, you know, we've got 200-300 large global clients. And I get to see what's going on in each one of those. So we can certainly put out my email address. It's John E with a period, and then Kelley, Kelley, at am.jll.com.
Fantastic. Well, I hope people take advantage of your expertise. I think you really do, because of the size and scope and what you see and your experience in the industry. you really have, and I know you personally would, you know, as a giving person would point people the right direction, whether ultimately it becomes transactional or not, but just to make sure that conversation's going the right way. John, I really appreciate it. Thank you very much. Stay safe, my friend. And we'll talk soon.
Great. Thanks, Alan.
All right. Thanks, everybody. We're out for this week. Look for us next week. Bye now.